I might have to rescind my previous judgment involving your idea of being extraordinarily petty towards your neighbors.
Oh no, do you have a neighbor issue?
Well, it's been a neighbor issue, but it's been one that I've just kind of accepted and lived with until recently.
Okay, let's hear yours.
I know I talked about this at some point. The neighbor like across the a balcony, I guess you would call it, from me. They always leave their fucking trash in front of their door, and I hate having to walk past it all the time. And at one point, they put it in front of the door to take it down later. And I at one point I did talk to the officers like, hey, can you just ask them not to do that anymore? And they stopped for like a week, and then they kept doing it.
Yeah, you did mention this. I couldn't remember if this was at your current place or your old place. I think it's been a while, but yeah, I remember
that was this place. That was this place. And
okay.
It's gotten pretty aggressive lately. I think they're planning to move soon, which I have no problem with.
Right.
Because like I've been seeing trash a lot more lately. And it's been the main issue is that it's been sitting longer, and like to the point that there's a pretty noticeable stain in the corner of their door where they've been piling up trash. And yeah, and like they had this one bag that I guess was leaking something, and whatever it was leaking has just permanently stained the concrete. And like there's a trail leading down the stairs and out of the building, and it's like it's really gross. I'm really not a fan.
Ugh. That's gross.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. But like I said, like I have just kind of lived with this because as much as I hate it, it doesn't really affect me directly. It's just really annoying to have to walk past it constantly and see it constantly. It's really disrespectful to me, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I've been willing to just live with that until, this past week, they took this like office chair, and this is like your classic gamer chair. It looks like a gamer chair. It's very clearly been used like one. Like it's pretty grody and everything. And they brought it out legitimately like a week ago, and it just sat there for an entire week, and they wouldn't take it downstairs and throw it away.
What?
So I started getting pretty annoyed because I was really sick of seeing it. It's gross. I shouldn't have to see it all the time.
Right.
So I came home one day. I was pretty annoyed. I had a pretty annoying day at work, and I was just like, all right, fuck it. And I took the chair and I moved it out of the corner they were keeping it, and I moved it directly in front of their door so they'd have to move it to get out of their apartment.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, this ought to be a pretty clear indication that somebody wants you to move this thing. But all they did was just move it back.
Oh my God. Why are people like this?
I don't know. But, so since they moved it back, I was like, okay, so clearly they had to have seen it and moved it. So they recognized that someone did this and they decided not to do anything about it. So I moved it back in front of their door again. And again, it got moved. It eventually got moved back.
Okay.
So yesterday morning, I was like really not in the mood to like go to work. It was Monday. Monday, the start of the week, it's always kind of like, damn, the weekend's over. I don't really want to go to work. Wasn't in the best mood. The chair was still there. And again, it's legitimately been about a week at this point. So I'm really sick of fucking seeing this thing.
Yeah.
So I take the chair and again, this is an office chair. Like it's on wheels, and I turn it on its side in front of their door.
So they have to pick it up.
It has to be picked up in order to be moved out in front of the door.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I came home. It was no longer there.
Hey, congratulations.
So I have officially sunk to being a petty, passive-aggressive asshole to get my asshole neighbors to stop leaving garbage in front of the door, and it worked.
Oh, damn. Well, good for you. I'm glad you got your situation taken care of. Mine has just seemed to escalate.
More than the previous episode?
The previous episode, did I tell you that I had talked to the mom?
You said you talked to the mom the first time brought this up.
No, so the first time I talked to the dad.
Right, but then didn't you? No. The mom came home and then it stopped being as bad. That's what happened.
Right. It stopped being bad for like 5 minutes and then it got worse. Well, this must have been like a little over a week ago. It was oh god, yeah, it was Labor Day weekend. And so it was like a long weekend. I was home for an extended period of time. The noise was out of control and it got to me again. It fucking got to me.
It'll do that.
And I did the same thing like I had previously done where I was like, okay, I'm just going to let it blow over. Not a big deal. This has been going on. Just I myself need to calm down, and you know what? Maybe I'll just get over it.
Sure.
So I think I went to the store, which I didn't even really need to do. I just needed to like get away
out
from this. Yeah. So I like did a little bit of grocery shopping and I came back and it was still going on. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll like go for a walk. So I like went out and went for a walk and I was gone, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes or so. I come back. It's just like out of fucking control.
Somehow worse.
Yeah. So I go upstairs and keep in mind, I've been documenting all of this.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Have you done any audio recordings yet?
I don't have any audio recording. I have tried getting a video of my ceiling fan light fixture shaking, but of course I can never catch it like at the right time.
Classic.
So at this point I've had enough. So I go upstairs, I knock on their door, and now I'm going to assume that this was either the child like grabbing the door handle and not opening the door, or maybe it was the dad like looking through the peephole, seeing it was me and was like, fuck no.
This fucking guy.
Yeah, like, all right, now it's the mom's turn. Cause like I hear someone grab the door handle and then just silence, like nobody answers it. So I'm like, all right, well, I knocked on the door. If they saw it was me, they get why I'm fucking knocking. So yeah. I start heading back downstairs and the door opens and it's the mom. And she's like, I'm so sorry about the noise. She's like, I know you talked to my husband already. And I was like, yeah.
This is a surprising reaction.
I was like, yeah, it's really loud. And she's like, I know. She's like, I'm sorry that you and everyone in the building have to deal with this, but our son is on the spectrum and we can't control him.
Oh, that again.
And I go, I understand that. And that's when the fucking bitch interrupts me and goes, unless you've had a child on the spectrum, you don't understand.
That's not an invalid response, but it's also like a very dismissive response.
Like, okay, I don't understand how to discipline this child, but I'm understanding of the fact it doesn't even matter. The fact of the matter is they have to be quiet, whether or not the child is on the spectrum or not. So I understand you have difficulties to deal with, but this is not okay. Like, this is a noise violation. And
is that what you said?
Well, I was like, look, no, I have never had a child on the spectrum, but it's gotten so bad to the point where my light fixture literally rocks back and forth. And she's like, we try our best, but we can't control what he does. And I don't know. She said something else. I have it. It's in my notes. I don't feel like looking word for word right now, but I was finally just like, well, or she said something about we don't have an option to control him. And I was like, well, maybe a ground floor apartment would have been a better option, and just walked away from her. And she was like, well, that wasn't an option. And I just went into my apartment and slammed the door. And I feel like that just spurred things on, because
they hate you now.
Yeah. It like that kid literally woke me up at 6:42 this morning. So
I mean, I had to like process how early that was, because for me that's not that early.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I try to get up like 7:15, 7:30, but I feel like, okay, that's during the week, but like this has been happening like before 8 o'clock, like 7 days a week, and lasting most days until every day it's past 8 o'clock. A lot of days it hits like 9, approaching 9:30 sometimes. Like this is going on like at least 12, if not like 14, almost 15 hours a day. Like this is not okay.
Right.
So I've like I said, I've been documenting everything. I'm giving it through this week, not thinking that it's going to get better, but I just want to have like a full month's worth of documented info to present to the leasing office.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give it this week, and then I'm gonna go talk to them. I've also been doing a little bit of research, especially I started it today. Like township ordinances against like noise between certain times. So if I have to like call the police or file some sort of grievance with like the township or whatever,
like know your stuff.
And this is gonna sound petty as shit, and any parents out there listening are probably gonna think I'm a huge asshole for this, but this is officially my last resort. But if nothing is done about this by my apartment complex, I'm officially going to make a call to Child Protective Services. Because both parents have told me they are unable to control what their child does.
That doesn't mean they're doing anything that, revokes their parental privileges.
I also don't know that they're not beating their child upstairs.
I mean, if they were, he wouldn't be so.
I mean, I don't know, but maybe. Okay, to be clear, I don't want their child taken away from them, but
You just want this shit to stop.
Yeah, maybe if someone puts a fucking scare in them, maybe they'll try and stop being shitty ass parents and actually try and discipline their kid. Or get him a fucking tranquilizer or a straitjacket or something. God. Fuck, I can't live like this.
Have you spoken to the leasing office yet, or is that still not happened?
No, that's gonna be this weekend. That's what I'm waiting the month to do.
Okay.
But yeah, Child Protective Services, under the suspicion of this child is not being properly cared for, is definitely within the realm of possibility.
I don't think I'll see you get anywhere with that, but at the very least, it might put a scare into them, I guess.
Yeah, because I feel like any call to Child Protective Services and they're like on that shit. So even if it just means that they get paid a visit, that would be great.
I hear a lot of like true crime stories where it's basically like, turns out calling Child Protective Services did nothing because they just didn't really give a shit. So who knows?
Who knows? But I feel like it's worth a try at least.
Well, I wish you luck, because you're stuck in a frustrating spot where it's like, this isn't really. It's so tough because I and I'm sure anyone else gets where they're coming from and gets that they're dealing with a lot, but they still have to follow the rules. There's
right. Like I think I said this on the podcast, but like when the dad said, we live in an apartment, we share walls, we have to like deal with a certain amount of noise. He wasn't wrong. Like,
no, he's not. But there's also, there is an expectation of some noise, but there's also an expectation that noise is managed because of the recognition that there's going to be noise.
Yeah.
That's I feel like something that's being overlooked by this kind fellow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if it comes down to the point where I have to knock on their door like 4 times a day, to the point where they just get so fucking annoyed that maybe they actually do something about it, then so be it. But I will go to the leasing office first after we get to this weekend. So, yeah, that's kind of where we stand on that. But that little fucker woke me up at 6:42 this morning.
Fun stuff, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the start of my day. Guess what else happened to me?
What's up?
So before I actually tell you what happened today, all of this kind of rolls together. Do you remember that How I Met Your Mother episode where like it was a St. Patrick's Day episode and Barney and Ted are out at the bar and they like pretend to be somebody else to get free drinks? Because Barney's theory is like, do whatever you want and bad things don't happen to you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's about where I need to be at this point. I feel like I'm almost at Barney's level right now. Because like this fucking kid's been, and the neighbors, for all I know, they're just blaming it on the fucking kid and they're noisy fucks. I don't know.
That would be an interesting turn of events.
I mean, I'm assuming they're telling the truth, but you never fucking know. They could just be blaming it on the kid. They do have a kid, though, so that part is at least true. But, Mac, it fucking happened to me again today. What? I'm at work. I walk out to leave. And I'm like walking down the sidewalk, like through the parking lot, and I just see this lady like standing next to her vehicle. And I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Tell me, no, this isn't fucking real. Sure as shit.
I don't understand.
I walk up to her. She goes, "Is this your car?" I go,
oh no, again?
I go, yeah, it is. Why? She goes, I'm sorry, but I hit your car.
Damn, it's not even been that long since last time.
No, it was this summer. I haven't even had the last one repaired yet. Maybe they can do it all at the same fucking time. But this dusty old bitch has the nerve to be like, I'm sorry I hit your car. It's really not that bad. And then she like shows me like the front of her car where she hit me. And I'm like, I don't fucking care what your car looks like.
Right.
That means literally nothing to me. And she's like, I'm like, where did you hit me? And she's like, it's over here. It's really not that bad. And I go, but it kind of is. Like, this was a lot more serious. This wasn't like put a dent in my bumper. Like, she like banged up my fender and like scratched my rim and there's like paint missing.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So I don't know. Apparently I need to just like start doing whatever the fuck I want because there's no consequences to life.
Except to you.
Yeah. But apparently attempting to be a decent human, they just happen anyway. So what's the difference? Just start being an asshole. No, but yeah, I thought that was just
fucking sucks, dude.
Just the fucking icing on the cake of the last like 2 months.
The fact that this has happened to you so in such quick succession makes me feel amazed that it's never happened to me.
Yeah. This is actually the third time that this car of mine has been hit in less than 3 years. The first time it happened, nobody said anything. So I don't know when it actually happened. I just like walked out to my car one day and I saw that there was like, I mean, it wasn't that severe. Like I wasn't going to just like get it repaired on my own, but there was like a square dent in my bumper. But I had no idea when it happened. It was like the back of my car, which I didn't happen to see. So I don't know. It could have been like that for like a week or two by the time I noticed. But yeah, that happened like 6 months after I got my car. And then now this happened like twice over the summer. So yeah.
Bad luck, man.
Yeah.
Or bad karma.
Yeah, and I'm not even one of those people who like fucking squeezes into parking spots. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
I just don't even give a shit. I'll park at the very back end of the parking lot if it means I don't have to deal with like finding a spot.
No, well, and that's the thing. I generally do too, because you know, like I go into like the same account so frequently. When I first started the job, my boss was like, he's like, I'm just gonna suggest you park like kind of far out to where you know you can park in the same general area every time. Because sometimes you're in there for so long, you're like, I have no idea where I parked. And you think you remember, but that was really like the week before. And
makes sense.
In the beginning, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And like, I've never been one to like hunt for those like super close spots. Like, I just kind of would always like park wherever I found one.
Sure.
If it happened to be close, I'd take it. But if not, I didn't mind walking. But yeah, it was like probably like a good, like not even like 2 or 3 weeks into having the job. And I was like frantically looking for my car. And I was like, oh, he's kind of right. Maybe I do need to just park in the same spot every time. And so from that point on, I did. And I haven't had an issue finding my car. So he was right. Imagine that.
Imagine that someone who's experienced with the job you were doing knew what they were talking about.
Yeah. This didn't actually cause any damage, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But I remember one of the first podcast episodes we recorded. It was like, I think I was like headed over to your place, and I was like sitting in my car, like checking an email or something. And the dude next to me just opened his door like right into mine and just didn't say anything.
I think you told me about this. I don't remember.
Yeah. I definitely remember telling it on the podcast at the time, but there was no damage. So like that wasn't a huge deal. A simple "I'm sorry" would have been nice, but I guess no harm, no foul. So that really wasn't the end of the world. And I will say that this lady that hit me today, this crusty old bitch, she at least did put in a claim to her insurance already, and like sent me a claim number. So, I mean, that's good. At least,
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's the base expected courtesy.
Right. But I mean, she was like on it. It was like 20 minutes and she called me and was like, I have a claim number and the name of the adjuster. Like, so that was pretty nice of her. I can't be, I guess, all that upset, but because I mean, things do happen.
It's so annoying.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't make it any less annoying. But yeah, I will give her that credit. She is a far better person than the people who live in the apartment above me. Because they seem
that's a big bar to like clear.
Yeah. I imagine if they hit me in a parking lot, I would be like,
you get out of the car and be like, I'm sorry, do you have an autistic child?
Yeah, my child was making noise. I couldn't control the fact that I accidentally hit you. Like, that's almost as ridiculous as this is.
Yeah. But people do that shit. People do that kind of shit all the time. One of my least favorite things to hear from people is kind of like that excuse where they, try to essentially claim that it's out of their control because of XYZ. Like you hear it a lot with, people who have mental illnesses, and I don't ever want to like downplay how difficult it is to live with that kind of thing. Like I deal with anxiety. It's not like major anxiety, but I have anxiety. But I hate when people say like, oh, I can't do XYZ or because of my depression or whatever. And it's like, you're not making an active effort to take control of this. You're just letting it control your life.
That is true. And
you're just kind of sitting there and accepting that this is it and doing nothing about it. Like mental illnesses don't, or shouldn't control your entire life. There are ways to control it yourself. And so when you take that defeatist attitude of like, because of my depression, because of my anxiety, because of whatever, then you're sitting there and saying, I'm not willing to do anything about this.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I will say about that is, I mean, like I am with you, but I mean, I guess we don't know like the severity of things, and we don't know the degree of which the person is trying to overcome this.
No, but do you get what I'm talking about though is, those people who you can tell by the way they react to situations that they aren't trying to do anything about it, that they're just like using it as an excuse. That's what it is. Like they're using it as an excuse rather than actually trying to like deal with it.
Right. And I will say,
right, like you can use not use, that's the wrong word, but like you can like express that your mental illness like makes things more difficult to you and use that as an explanation for something, but using it as an excuse is not okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the way that it should be summed up is it's it may be the reason or the explanation, but that doesn't justify it as an excuse to just let it continue happening.
Right, exactly. It's I feel like it happens a lot. Like the reason I say this is because it's the kind of thing you see a lot in like close relationships with people who deal with mental illnesses. There's a lot of those situations where they just, they'll explain away things they do that are very harmful to you in their relationship as, like this is just my mental illness. And it's a very like, okay, well, you're just basically telling me to get over it at that point.
Right.
And that's kind of really disrespectful to my point of view.
Right. Right. No, there are a lot of people who will use that excuse to justify their not so great behavior or actions.
Yeah, and like that's what I want to make clear to people. Like I am not trying to downplay how difficult it is to live with mental illness, but when you stop trying to, deal with it and you start just using it as an excuse to be a shitty person, like you've lost me, bro.
Yeah. Yep. I am absolutely with you there. Yeah, mental illness is nothing to mess with. It is very, very serious, but yeah, you can't just use it to justify doing whatever you want and being a shitty person.
Right. Like I'll speak in vague terms because like not that it's anybody we've ever like had on the podcast or that I talk about regularly, but I don't want to like expose this person or some shit like that. But like there was a person in my life at some point who like we were very close and we had to deal with each other a lot, and like they did a lot of really frustrating things, and I like most of the time I would just let it be and not let it be a thing. But there was one time that they did something that really, really frustrated me, and I called them out on it. And all I wanted was an apology. All I wanted was like an I'm sorry, I'll try not to let it happen again. That's all I was looking for, right? Like I didn't want them to fucking like prostrate themselves and beg my forgiveness. I just wanted like some acknowledgement that they did wrong and that they feel bad about it. But instead, all I got was a bunch of like, oh, because of my XYZ, and like it was just like one big excuse. There wasn't a single word of like acknowledgement of wrongdoing on their part. It was all just excuses related to their mental illness. And it was like, okay, I get that this is difficult for you, but that none of that was an apology. You didn't even express that you feel bad about it. You just basically were like, it is what it is.
Yeah. That sounds extraordinarily familiar. I had almost the identical situation, and potentially with the same person.
It's not anybody you knew, but there are definitely people that.
What's that?
It's not anybody that you knew, but there are definitely people that have existed in both of our lives that are responsible for this kind of behavior.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yep. We're on the same page, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it sounded so ridiculously familiar.
A lot of people like lean on that like crutch of like, oh, my mental illness, and it's really not fair to the people in your life who have to deal with it. Like we all have things about like our psyche and things that are like hard for us to control that make things more difficult for us. But you can't use it as an excuse. You have to at least like make some effort to mitigate that and show that you are like apologetic for it.
Right. Yeah. It's a slippery slope, man.
It is. It's hard to talk about because, the people who do this kind of things who do these kinds of things will not hear it and recognize that, there's something wrong with their behavior. They'll essentially be like, oh, you're just downplaying my mental illness, which is obviously, again, not what I'm trying to do. But like, like I said, I'm an anxious person. I have a lot of anxiety, and it leads to situations where I frequently like overthink situations or misinterpret things a lot because I overthink everything. And it has led to situations where I've done things that, were objectively just kind of not great reactions to situations. And I didn't sit there and be like, oh, well, my anxiety has just made it this way and there's nothing I can do about it. I instead looked at it and was like, okay, next time a situation like this happens, I need to, keep myself in check and try not to let this happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I feel, cuz I've had situations like that myself, and if anything, I tend to go too far the opposite way and just take all the blame and just make it out like it's just completely my fault, and because I don't want to have that excuse. I
Right.
want to I'd rather own up to it and just deal with the situation and not let it happen again, rather than
I've definitely done that. I've definitely had situations where I've almost been too apologetic about it, and the other party involved had to be like, hey, I did wrong here too. It's okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Dealing with people is so hard, and I don't like doing it.
Yeah.
Just, interpersonal relationships, encounters with complete strangers, none of it's fun. It's always frustrating and stressful.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you feel about I know your interactions with people at retail stores, you're not a big fan of. I don't think a lot of people are. When you're a shopper, I'm not talking about in my position, or you have to deal with customers and things like that. There's no way around that. But I know when you're a shopper, you would prefer to not interact with people.
No, I go out of my way to, if I see an overly crowded aisle, I go to the next aisle.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting that you and I both would rather go into a fast food restaurant, interact with someone, and pick up our food rather than go through the drive-through.
Dude, I'm not one of those people, because I have worked in retail and I've worked in fast food. I'm not one of those people who's going to just cast some fucking aspersions against anybody who works those kinds of jobs. Not every McDonald's worker will fuck up your order, but
Right.
far, far more often than when you go into the store, they will fuck up your order in the drive-thru. Almost every time, it feels like.
It sure as shit feels like that. That's true.
I think it has to be the microphone quality, because I know they're cheap. The microphones have to be so shit that it just makes communication impossible. Because Jesus, they fuck up your order all the goddamn time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't want to be that you don't want to be that person that's oh, well, whatever. If you want a job, you should make it right. Or if you think you deserve to get paid more, try making my meal right. They go through a lot. They have to make a quadrillion orders all the time. And, people make mistakes. So you have to
it happens.
It happens, but you're right. There's something about the drive-through specifically where they fuck it up way more frequently than if you go inside.
Yeah, it is very irritating.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on the interaction with delivery drivers? Do you order DoorDash or Grubhub or anything like that?
I do very rarely.
Okay.
Mostly because it's so expensive.
Oh yeah, it is. There was one time I ordered Taco Bell for 2 people, and it was like, I think like almost $40. And it was like, well,
Yeah.
like, come on. Like,
I mean, like for big groups, it doesn't make a big deal. But like if you're ordering for yourself or for a small group of people, it can practically double the order sometimes.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Between like additional, like just the prices of things being more than they would if you went there, to like delivery fees, and then you don't want to be an asshole, so you have to like tip. Like, yeah, if you're ordering from somewhere cheap, you're like doubling the cost of your meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious because that's like an interaction that you're like choosing to have. You're inviting someone to come to you and interact with them.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever had issues with delivery drivers. I honestly can't think of like a single situation, but again, my experience is limited. Like I mostly just order food during 24-hour live streams.
Oh, that little fucker's running around. Swear to God, I'm going to end that child's fucking life.
Can't wait to hear them play that in the courtroom.
I would like the jury to know that I'm joking. I'm not actually going to end the child's life.
It was all ironic, dude.
It was. Yeah, no, he's someone up there's making a lot of fucking noise. That's all I know. It could be an adult. I can't verify that it's a child.
What if the parents just have an extremely active and, you know, not bedridden sex life?
Oh God. I mean, good for them, but I don't want to fucking hear it. I mean, no shame in that. That guys, go at it, but I don't want to hear it. Yeah.
Shoot, I was totally gonna say something related to drive it. Fuck it, it's gone now. How's your week been besides getting your car smashed and having a child live it? Hang on, I'm getting a phone call. I have to answer this.
All right.
Okay, sorry, it was some scam bullshit. I just had to answer it in case it was like a possible job call.
I gotcha. Yeah, shit happens.
But anyway, I was trying to ask, how has your week been besides the things that you've already told us about?
So far, I guess it's been all right. I guess last week was okay. This week is pretty fresh. We're only a couple days in. But I had a busy day today, like this morning, and everything was going great. I was making sales like fucking crazy. It was a start to a good day, and then my car got hit.
Tends to put a damper on things.
Yeah. I feel like last week was pretty uneventful. I don't think I have anything in my notes that I wrote down last week, so that must have meant that not a lot happened to me. What about you? Anything going on?
Well, I'm very close to finishing my newest video.
Ooh.
If things stay on track, my goal is, and there's a very real chance that this won't happen because there's still a lot of work to do, but my goal is to have this video out on the Thursday after this episode comes out.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That'll be cool. So guys,
pretty exciting.
Keep an eye out.
If you aren't already subscribed to Captain Mac, you're a fucking loser. And if you are, then, just keep an eye on your subscription box.
Yeah, we definitely need to make sure that we put out a post about your video when it comes out.
I always retweet my own post onto our Twitter.
Oh, that works. Speaking of Twitter, I don't remember if it was your Twitter. Yeah, I think it was your Twitter. Maybe it was Instagram. I feel like you had some sort of post that came across today. I couldn't actually listen to it because I was on the phone, but it was something like, "This is how I feel about things today," and it was like an audio clip. But again, I was on the phone, so I couldn't listen to it.
Are you talking about on my Instagram?
It might have been Instagram. I don't completely remember. I was scrolling while I was on the phone.
I feel like you may have been looking at a reel I posted of me bitching about an OBS update that I hate.
That could be. That could be a real thing.
Yeah. I just have like lots of little, like the rough cut of the video is finished, and I watched through it in its entirety yesterday, and I'm really happy with where it's at. There's just like a good few changes that still need to happen, and I need to make an addition to the video, because I decided now that I'm up over 10,000 subscribers to start a Patreon.
What's that?
Oh my God, you're so old. So Patreon is a website where where people can make more direct support contributions to creators. It's kind of like a website where you can ask for donations, but it's also like, oh, if you decide to donate, you get, something in return for it, right? So mine's going to be set like the base tier is just $5 a month, and if you decide to join, you get things like like weekly progress updates, Patreon only live streams. When I finish a video, I'll do like a behind the scenes live stream where I talk about how I did certain things, stuff like that. And it's a really great way for creators to like gain some extra capital for their content, because unlike Twitch or YouTube, Patreon takes a very small cut of the money that you get through them.
Okay. Nice. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, hopefully a good number of people will think it's worth their money, because there are certain things I want to do with the channel that, cost money that I don't really have at the time. Like for my current video, I've talked about it a little bit. Like I'm doing a lot of like pseudo 3D animation, which is very taxing on a computer. And like my computer is hardly like a low spec computer, but it is a bit out of date. And this led to like a good amount of frustration with like things loading extremely slowly, and specifically like I can't have Premiere and After Effects open at the same time, which means that anytime I needed to make a change to like a clip I was working on, I would have to like close and reopen whichever one I needed to work in, which was very time consuming. So like I can't afford to upgrade my computer at this time, but through something like Patreon, I might be able to like get enough to upgrade my computer.
Nice. Well, that'd be cool.
And that's kind of the goal of it. And like, so I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast before, but like if anybody's listening to this and being like, oh, this dude just fucking wants money to sit around and make videos all day. None of the money that I make right now on Twitch, YouTube, or eventually my Patreon goes to me at the time. All of it gets saved and separated, and it only gets used for the channel. I don't use it to like buy groceries or buy fucking hentai or anything like that. All of that money gets saved for whenever I need to buy equipment or props or any random shit like that, or like pay my thumbnail artist. It all gets used for that. And that's the intention of that. It's just, to gain a little extra capital to help me make improvements to my channel.
Nice.
So also, I need like part of why this video may or may not come out in the time frame expected is that I had to write and I have to film and edit a portion of the video where I talk about the Patreon becoming a thing.
Okay. Nice. Well, that's cool. More continued success.
Hopefully. Maybe no one will subscribe to it. That's a possibility.
Yeah, I suppose that is a possibility. Also, I have no idea how fucking loud this child is being, because I could, like, it was loud to me with earbuds in while you were talking.
Oh, boy. Well, if you can hear it in the video, I guess you better suck it up.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Mac, I have kind of an odd question for you.
You frequently do.
Do you ever just, this doesn't happen to me often, but do you ever just like know that your nose is bleeding?
I cannot tell you the last time I had a nosebleed. It does not happen to me.
Okay, so it doesn't happen to me frequently. Like, I would say maybe, I don't know, maybe like once a year? I don't know. Not very often. But I don't know what it is. Like, because unless you get like hit in the nose, like it doesn't hurt. But for some reason, like you just know that it's bleeding. Like, it doesn't feel like your nose is running. I don't know what it is. There's a very distinct difference. I don't know how to explain it, but if you haven't had a nosebleed in longer than you can remember, then I guess maybe you don't know what I'm talking about.
I legitimately, like, I would have been a child the last time I got a nosebleed. It just does not happen to me. I don't know why.
Huh. Yeah, usually it only happens to me like in the winter time when it's like super dry. Sometimes it'll happen. But it happened to me after we recorded the last episode. We finished up and I was just like sitting on the couch watching TV, and I was like, "Oh God, my nose is bleeding." And like I'm always like, or is it just running? No, it's got to be bleeding. And sure enough, like it seems like every time touch my nose, yep, bleeding. I don't know where it came from, why it happened, when it'll happen again, but yeah, it was just random and it stopped and that was the end of it. But I don't know why that feels so different.
Next time you should try to control your blood and shoot it at somebody.
I should.
Maybe you're a bloodbender and you just don't know it.
If I could shoot blood at that child upstairs, I'd probably do that. Oh, man. Mac, I thought of something the other day that makes me irrationally angry.
Okay.
And I know we've kind of touched on this before, and it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to say that it's irrational because we find a rationalization for it.
Sure.
But I know it's a little different in every state, so I'm sure Oregon's different. But you know, every year when you like renew your license plate and they give you the little tab to put on.
I have to interrupt for a second because I have something to be pissed about.
Okay.
So the continuing saga of me and my fucking driver's license and license plate. We've talked about this. For the past, since June, I've been driving a car that is both uninsured and unlicensed because I need to get Oregon license plates and an Oregon driver's license, but I needed my birth certificate. My birth certificate took forever to get delivered. Finally got it. Then I needed to schedule an appointment with the DMV because I went online and they have an online like appointment thing, and they said that like the DMV in Eugene does not have walk-in. You have to like do appointments. So I would try to make an appointment. And the website would say appointments open up on Monday, but there's none available right now. You have to check on Monday evenings. And I'm like, okay, that sucks. So I would check at all the DMVs nearby, and all of them would not have appointments available until like a month and a half later. The only DMV that I could try to get an appointment to within a week would be in Portland, which is 2 hours away from where I live.
Oh, God.
And it's really fucking frustrating. And so every Monday I would check on the DMV website, try to get an appointment. There would never be any available. So finally last week, I decided to call the DMV and try to schedule an appointment through the phone. They said, like, you shouldn't do that on the website. They're like, oh, don't bog down the lines. But I'm like, clearly, like, I have to just check if there's like something available that for some reason the website's glitching and saying there isn't. I call, give them some information. I sit on hold for like 20 minutes. And the guy on the other end tells me, oh, the UGN DMV only does walk-in. They don't do appointments, even though the website says that they don't do walk-ins and only take appointments.
Oh, God. Are you kidding me?
So I've been driving around with super carefully with my unlicensed car for months because the government website fucking lied to me.
Oh, my God. So did you get it taken care of yet?
No, I'm doing it this week, but I'm so over this situation.
Yeah. Oh, man. That sucks. I'm sorry. That's like, that situation is frustrating enough dealing with like DMV or Secretary of State or whatever it's called in the place where you may live. Like that's a frustrating situation on its own, but to then try to follow what they tell you and have that be the exact opposite is
is very, very irritating.
Yeah. Wow.
Not a happy camper.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, man. Well, hopefully it goes smoother and you can get in and out in a somewhat reasonable amount of time.
Oh, I doubt it, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, damn. See, now that's something that makes us rationally angry.
Oh, I'm rationally pissed about that shit.
My irrational anger comes at the annual license plate renewal tabs. Not the tabs themselves, but the motherfuckers who can't follow goddamn directions. It tells you very specifically where to place the sticker.
Sure.
And every year when I renew my license plate, it says, well, it has previously, it has always said, all plates except motorcycle plates, upper right corner. I know we did
That's where I put mine.
I know we did get a new license plate in Michigan within the last year. It's pretty dope. It's a navy blue plate, which I'm going to switch to this coming year. But that's not the point. That one is bottom right because everyone I've seen has been bottom right.
You're a bottom bitch.
Oh, you know I am. But the thing that pisses me off are the motherfuckers who, like, every year put it in a different spot. So, like, every corner of their license plate, and sometimes, like, in the middle has a renewal sticker on it.
I guess I can't relate to this frustration, Mike.
Like, I feel like those people should get a ticket for not following directions. It very clearly states where to put it. And in fact, it's actually a little bit of a point of pride of mine to stack as many of those stickers on top of each other as possible.
I do like that. I do like that too.
That's like a guilty pleasure when I get to add like another layer on there.
Yeah, definitely.
It just bugs me because I can't understand if it's people not following directions or just choosing to be an asshole. But either way, I feel like Ken.
It's probably a bit of both.
If you don't teach people, they won't learn. I feel like those motherfuckers need to get a fucking ticket for not following fucking directions. That's my irrational fear. Or not fear, my irrational anger. Yeah.
So you know what I'm irrationally afraid of?
What?
The podcast ending. Oh no, it's happening!